The name of Magda Goebbels occupies a special place in the history of the Third Reich. She was not just the wife of the main propagandist of Nazi Germany, Joseph Goebbels. Her figure embodied the image of an ideal Aryan woman in the representation of Nazi ideology. A beautiful, educated, elegant mother of 6 children, Magda easily entered Adolf Hitler's inner circle and became the unofficial First Lady of the Third Reich, replacing the Führer's wife, the secretive and non-public Eva Braun. That's what we're going to talk about today. Magdalena Johanna Maria Ritschl was born on November 11, 1901 in Berlin, in the family of engineer Oskar Ritschl and Augusta Bechlin. Her early childhood was spent in an atmosphere of financial instability. After her parents divorced, her mother remarried Richard Friedlander, a Jewish merchant, who adopted Magda and gave her his last name. Magda's education corresponded to the bourgeois standards of her time. She studied at the prestigious Ursuline Convent School in Belgium, and then at private educational institutions in Germany and Switzerland. Already in her youth, she demonstrated an interest in social sciences, philosophy, and literature, while possessing an appearance that corresponded to the ideal of feminine beauty of her time: tall, blonde hair, and restrained manners. This combination of veneer and discipline would later play a crucial role in her rise to the top echelon of Nazi Germany's power. In 1921, Magda married the wealthy industrialist Gunther Quandt, a union that gave her financial stability, but turned out to be devoid of deep personal feelings. From this marriage, a son was born, Harold, the only one of her children who survived the Second World War. However, the marriage ended in 1929. Magda, however, retained access to high society and continued to lead an active social life. It was at this time that she began to show interest in National Socialist ideas. Having gone from an outsider to an active participant, Magda joined the NSDAP in 1930. Meeting Joseph Goebbels was a turning point in her life. Joseph Goebbels, one of the key ideologists of the Nazi Party, was fascinated not only by Magda's appearance, but also by her ability to behave in society, maintain conversation, and adapt to a variety of situations. Their marriage in December 1931 was not just a union of 2 people, but also an important political gesture. From that moment, Magda Goebbels became the First Lady of Nazi Germany, long before Eva Braun appeared in Hitler's entourage. The couple quickly became a symbol of the ideal Aryan marriage, the epitome of the lifestyle promoted by the Third Reich. Magda actively participated in the activities of women's Nazi organizations, was involved in charity, participated in activities to strengthen the family, motherhood, and childhood, the central themes of Nazi social policy. Her photos were often published in the press, and she was unofficially considered a role model for German women. Nevertheless, her role was not limited to propaganda functions only. She enjoyed the personal confidence of Hitler, who appreciated her upbringing, intelligence, and political acumen. It was Magda who accompanied the Führer at many events, sometimes acting as an intermediary between him and her husband, especially during periods of personal conflict between Goebbels and other members of the leadership. Together with Joseph Goebbels, she gave birth to 6 children: Helga, Hilda, Helmut, Hulda, Hedda, and Haida. All of them had names beginning with the letter X, at the insistence of their father, as a sign of symbolic closeness to Hitler. Photos of the Goebbels family were regularly published in the propaganda press, creating the illusion of an idyllic National Socialist family: a strong father, a loving mother, healthy, smiling children. Magda sincerely believed in the ideals that the Third Reich promoted. She believed that her children were not just a family, but a new generation of Germany, designed to realize the ideas of National Socialism in the future. She saw herself as the mother not only of her children, but of the entire nation, an image that was actively cultivated in the press and official events. However, behind the facade of the idyll, there were tensions. Joseph Goebbels, known for his love affairs, repeatedly had affairs, including with the famous actress Lida Barova. In 1938, the scandal reached Hitler himself. Magda tearfully asked the Führer for permission to divorce, but he forbade the divorce, fearing reputational damage. Joseph was forced to end his relationship with Barova, and the marriage was formally preserved. But from that moment on, the relationship between the spouses remained more of a political union than a personal attachment. Magda plunged deeper and deeper into the atmosphere of the cult that was forming around the personality of Hitler. She called him her spiritual father and believed that serving the Reich was the highest mission of her life. With the outbreak of World War II, Magda Goebbels practically disappears from the front pages of newspapers. Her role as a public figure is decreasing, but she continues to participate in charity projects, speaks to women's organizations and organizes training camps for soldiers, and responds to letters from mothers. Publicly, Magda remained loyal to the Führer's supporters, but privately, Magda increasingly expressed doubts, especially when Germany's position on the Eastern Front began to deteriorate. Magda recalled Hitler's words, which he said in the Ernst Cafe in Munich at the sight of a small Jewish boy, that he would like to crush him like a bug on the wall. She confessed bitterly, "I couldn't believe it and thought it was just provocative talk, but later he actually did it. It was all so unspeakably terrible." So, on November 9, 1942, during a meeting with friends, listening to Hitler's speech on the radio, she turned off the receiver in irritation and said, "God, what nonsense." Magda also reportedly confessed in 1944 that Hitler had stopped listening to sane people and trusted only those who told him what he wanted to hear. Despite her personal connection with her Jewish stepfather, Magda made no attempt to save him when he was arrested. He was sent to Buchenwald concentration camp in 1938 and died soon after. When asked about Joseph Goebbels' anti-Semitic stance, she justified it this way: "This is the Führer's order, and Joseph must obey." By the end of 1944, the situation on the fronts was becoming catastrophic. Soviet troops are approaching Berlin. Hitler and his inner circle are moving to the Führer bunker under the Reich Chancellery. The Goebbels family moved here in April 1945. 6 children who were between 4 and 12 years old at the time also descend with their spouses. Magda was one of the last people to see Adolf Hitler and his wife Eva Braun before their suicide on the afternoon of April 30th, 1945. The next day on May 1st, Magda and Joseph Goebbels launched their terrifying plan. They agreed with SS dentist Helmut Kuntz to administer morphine injections to their 6 children. The calculation was simple and monstrous. When the children lost consciousness, they had to crush cyanide vials in their mouths, which would lead to instant death. Kuntz later testified that although he did inject morphine into the children, it was Magda and SS Obersturmbannführer Ludwig Stumpfegger, Hitler's personal physician, who gave cyanide to the children. Researcher James O'Donnell, after a thorough study of the circumstances, came to the conclusion that, despite the likely involvement of Stumpfegger, it was Magda who killed her own children with her own hands. According to eyewitnesses, Magda was thinking about and openly talking about the murder of her children a month before the tragic event. In a conversation with her friend and daughter-in-law from her first marriage, Elo Quant, she did not hide her intentions, saying that the whole family was preparing to take poison. That's what Magda said. "We demanded monstrous things from the German people, treated other nations with merciless cruelty. The winners will take full revenge for this. We can't let them think we're cowards. Everyone else has the right to life. We don't have that right. We've lost it." Magda was clearly aware of the historical assessment that awaited her husband. In the future, Joseph will be considered one of the greatest criminals that Germany has ever produced. Realizing this, she decided that her children should not bear the burden of their father's sins. His children will hear it every day. People will torment them, despise and humiliate them. They will have to bear the burden of his sins, and revenge will fall on them. Rejecting offers to save her children, including Albert Speer's proposal for a secret evacuation from Berlin, she chose to stay by her husband's side during the last days of the Third Reich. In a frank conversation with Hitler's secretary Traudl Junge, Magda uttered horrifying words: "I would rather my children died than live in shame, under ridicule. My children have no chance in Germany after the war." Rokas Misch, the last survivor of the Führer bunker, shared with the shocking memories of those events. According to him, immediately after Hitler's suicide, Magda went down to the bunker with her children for the sole purpose of killing them. She chose the bunker specifically because no one could interfere with her there. With frightening calm, Magda helped her daughters change into long, white nightgowns and carefully comb their hair. Misch, who was there, tried to focus on his work but realized the inevitability of the tragedy. Soon after, Magda returned to Vorbunker with her children. Werner Naumann later told Misch that he had seen Hitler's personal physician, Dr. Stumpfegger, give the children some kind of sweetened substance, presumably sleeping pills laced with cyanide. About 2 hours later, Magda returned to the Vorbunker alone. Her appearance spoke eloquently about her experience. Pale face, reddened eyes, and a frozen expression. She sat down at the table and started playing solitaire. Joseph Goebbels approached her, but at that moment did not utter a word. After murdering their own children, Magda and Joseph Goebbels went out into the Chancellery Garden to commit suicide. There are various versions of their deaths. According to one of them, everyone bit into an ampule of cyanide near Hitler's burial site, after which they were shot in the head. Goebbels' SS adjutant Gunther Schwagermann testified in 1948 that he accompanied the couple to the stairs leading to the garden. As he waited on the stairs, he heard the sound of gunfire. When Schwagermann went upstairs, he found their lifeless bodies. Following Goebbels' preliminary order, he ordered an SS soldier to shoot Goebbels' motionless body. The bodies were then doused with gasoline, but they were only partially burned and left unburied. Their bodies would later be found by Soviet soldiers. That's how the life of Germany's First Lady, Magda Goebbels, ended. Friends, subscribe to the channel, put likes, and write comments. What do you think about this?